Renier de RDR got a short notice Brendan Allen, which should have set up a middleweight title fight. Instead, he sat on that stool and quit. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to recap and react to every single fight from UFC Vancouver. Before we talk about the fights, let's talk about the bets. Overall, the bets did pretty well. If you went to WeWantPicks.com and you became a premium member, you had some success. Jacob's underdog lock of the week, Jourdain Santos, hit. Bet Sam's slam of the week hit. We gave you 2.5 units of net profit, a 13% ROI. I missed big with the safety parlay. Not only did Azamat Bekoev get dotted up, but Renier de RDR quit on the stool. We did have some shining stars, though. Obviously, Jacob cleaned up. You could see all that green in the middle. I had that Bruno Silva win inside the distance decision, no action. We had a couple of parlays that hit as well. If you do want to unlock every single pick, every single bet, every single tool, not just for next week's UFC 321, but the 2 fight nights after that, and then UFC 322, you can do so now. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It is $10 for an entire month's worth of access. We just gave you 2.5 units of net profit. Last week, we also gave you net profit. The week before that, we also gave you net profit. The week before that, we also gave you net profit. Jacob happens to be the hot hand, but overall, We Want Picks has been crushing it. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It's $10 for an entire month. A whole ass month. 4 events, $10, $2.50 a week. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I'm about to recap every single fight from this card, but if you have your own thoughts, not only on this card, but some maybe preview thoughts on UFC 321 or some dating advice, give us a call. Leave us a message, 1-866-WE-WANT-PICKS or 866-939-2687. Leave us a message. Depending on what it is, we will cover it in our live show. Let's go ahead and talk about this fight card. We had 13 fights, and overall, this was a pretty solid fight card. We opened up with Melissa Croden taking on Tainara Lizboran. Listen, I took this fight on somewhat short notice myself. I broke this down. It popped up. I had no odds to work with. I did the tape study. I watched it, and I broke this fight down. I gave you this breakdown last Sunday, and I said, I don't know what these odds are going to be because they don't exist yet, but I am picking Melissa Croden. She's the cleaner striker. She is gigantic, and I think she wins this fight, and that's exactly what happened. She is huge, first of all. She is giant. For this weight class, she is absolutely tremendous. She could definitely fight at 145 pounds if that weight class still mattered or existed. But overall, she's a good striker. That long, powerful jab is definitely very important to her in her game. My only concern is her cardio. And it's weird that I have this here because she came out, she looked pretty good early, then she slowed down bad. And that's when I started to type up cardio issues. But then she landed a couple of stiff jabs. She had Tainara Lisboa rocked. She had some success, and she got that second wind. So she ended up winning this fight. She won it by finish late. We had a couple of fights where there were late finishes. But I am still concerned about Melissa's cardio. I didn't watch this and say, wow, she's a savage. I watched this and said, she's huge, she's powerful, she's got a great jab. Her cardio did fade. She did get a second wind. I'm not going to take away from the fact that she pushed forward, got rejuvenated, got that runner's high, and then found a finish. But I am concerned if she's getting backed up, if she's getting dotted up, if she'll find that second win in the future. So she looked great in this fight. This was a spectacular win, a phenomenal UFC debut for her. I picked her with no odds whatsoever. She ended up being an underdog, so I'm happy with that. The reality is Melissa Croden is very, very good. But if she fights somebody that will back her up, that will push the pace, that won't back down to her size, or that ridiculously long jab, she could have some problems because she was huffing and puffing in that second round. Then we got to the most disappointing fight of the night. We had a couple of really exciting fights in this card, and this actually was a fun fight as well. But for me, disappointing. I was positive Azamat Bekoev was going to come in here, bomb away, pressure Yousri, and potentially finish him. And we got most of that. Azamat Bekoev came forward, and he started bombing away. The pressure early was insane. But what ended up happening is Yousri put on a masterclass of how to be 6'6". This dude is 6'6", and he used every inch of it. He had a 7-inch reach advantage. He was just putting out long jabs, throwing long leg kicks, and just staying at range. So as Azamat ran forward chaotically, looking for a finish, Yousri was just backing up, circling, dotting him up, and staying away. Couple of takeaways from this fight. First of all, Azamat bloodied instantly. Like, this dude got hit with 3 jabs and was immediately red and swollen. He had a couple of elbows to the side of the head after he got a takedown, and that's when he opened up and got bloody. The reality is, I know the narrative in this fight was, oh, you're down 2 rounds, you need to find a finish in the third. I thought Azamat won that first round. I mean, there was wild pressure. He got takedowns. He was bombing away. I fully understand he got dotted up and backed up with a couple of long jabs, but Yousri was the one running backwards and just throwing things to not get taken down. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because Azamat got finished, and that was the correct call, meaning it wasn't an early stoppage. There was no bullshit. Azamat put on such a pace that his cardio could not keep up, and Yousri got it done. Yousri has 3 losses on his record. After watching this fight, I almost don't know how. Like, who the hell is just running through this dude? If I take a look at his record, Marco Tulio, solid striker. I didn't watch that fight. It's the Contender Series. I don't love it. No, I did. But the reality is, I get it. Marco Tulio is technical, and he just played that technical game. He dotted up Yousri, and he didn't chase. And that's how he won that fight. I did watch the Contender Series fight. I'm just busting balls here. He got that win with technical forward pressure, meaning he didn't chase, he didn't run in, which is what Azamat did. But if I back up a little farther, we got Muhammad Ozel beat him. Ahmed Sami beat him. And my point here is, Yousri looked fantastic. We know how dangerous Azamat Bekoev can be. And he came forward. It was with reckless abandon, and that is why he lost his fight, because he basically blew his wad chasing a finish early. But Yousri looked fantastic. I would actually like to see a rematch between Yousri and Marco Tulio, because Marco Tulio is very good. What he did to Treson Gore a couple of months ago was just a masterclass on controlled striking. I would like to see this rematch because I think Yousri, although Glover didn't corner him, I think Yousri training at that gym with big-ass Alex Bejeda and Glover has worked well for him. Because in this fight, he stayed composed. The pressure didn't bother him whatsoever. He was taken down, he popped back up. He was taken down, he stuffed the head. He got those long-ass legs out of there. And now, Azamat Bekoev's cardio was less than spectacular, wildly disappointing, but he hit Yousri hard. And he hit him hard a few times, and it didn't matter. Yousri's going to be interesting. I'm not quite sold yet, because the fact that he got hit that hard from somebody bombing just recklessly with looping shots isn't great. But Yousri looked great in this fight. Bekoev, cardio wasn't there. That was his biggest issue, because I actually thought he won the first round. And if he had that exact same energy and cardio in the first round, in the second, and then the third, I think he could have won this fight. I think he could have gotten a decision. He obviously didn't. He got finished. Yousri looked good. That length, that range, 6'6" at middleweight is going to be a problem for a lot of people. I don't know what they do with him next, but let's see, because it was a bad take on my part. I thought he would be chinny. I thought this was like, you know what, this dude's too big for this weight class. He's too long. He's too lean. He cuts too much weight. He's going to get hit. It's going to be a problem. That's not what happened at all. Then we had Stephanie Luciano taking on Ravena Oliveira. This was another late finish. We had back-to-back third-round finishes. And then if we go even farther, we had back-to-back-to-back third-round finishes. This was the third fight on the card. All three of them went to the third round, and all three of them got finishes in the third round. This was a very close fight. Ravena Oliveira looked good early. She was touching up Stephanie. They were both getting at it. There was no hesitation whatsoever on either side of this cage. They were both willing to engage in a slug fight. They got after it. We didn't see like a whole wild world of technique, but what I did see was Ravena Oliveira coming off a 2-year layoff, dropping weight classes, and getting after it. She got in Stephanie's face. She threw hands early. She was not afraid to engage. And she had early success because of that. It wasn't until the light bulb went off in Stephanie's head that, oh, I can just take her down, that things started to change. When Stephanie decided, like, hey, this is an MMA fight and not just a kickboxing match and I can take it to the ground, that's when things change. I think Ravena Oliveira, if she was not coming off a 2-year layoff, could have potentially won this fight. She obviously didn't. Stephanie Luciano won this fight. She should have won this fight. She was supposed to win this fight. She was one of the more confident picks because of the layoff, because of the weight changes and everything else happening on the other side. Stephanie Luciano, we'll see what happens with her in the future. I don't know if I'm looking at the two of them objectively. I don't know if Stephanie has that bright of a future, right? I think she'll win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2. Like, I think she'll be a middle-of-the-road fighter for a couple of years, and then she disappears. Ravena Oliveira, on the other hand, while her record is not spectacular, she's 7-3-1. And while she's not unbelievable at anything, she is a dog. She moved forward. She got after it. This is after a 2-year layoff, the ring rust through the roof. I think Ravena Oliveira, if she stays active, stays busy, gets after it in the gym, she could actually be a real problem at 115 pounds. She got after it early. She was having success. The grappling was the issue here, but she can shore up that takedown defense. Then we had Jacob's underdog lock of the week. We had Jourdain Santos taking on Danny Barlow. Jourdain Santos is a very interesting pick here because when I broke down this fight, I said, listen, I'm going to pick Danny Barlow, but the reality is Jourdain Santos moves forward. He stays busy as hell, and this could be a problem because Danny Barlow does not fight as well backing up as he does moving forward. And that was my breakdown. And then Jacob took it a step further and said, I'm going to pick Jourdain Santos to win, and he got a ton of hate for that. Jacob was on a 3-fight underdog lock of the week pick win streak, and yet he picked Jourdain Santos, and people hated him for that. The general narrative was this guy lost to Ozzy Diaz. And I addressed that before Jacob ever picked Jourdain Santos as lock of the week. I specifically said, I understand Jourdain lost to Ozzy Diaz. I get it. But the reality is he landed 113 significant strikes in that loss. And if he brings that energy here, he could sneak out a win. And that's exactly what we got. I was surprised this was unanimous. This felt like a dogfight. They both got after it. They were both rocked. They were both almost dropped. These guys got after it. Great fight by both of them. The ultimate difference was not skill. It was not technique. It was not power. It was not speed. The difference in this fight was just dog. Straight up dog. Danny Barlow clearly hit harder. He clearly hit harder because for a couple of rounds there, every single strike Danny landed had Jourdain like, uh-oh, and he was a little wobbled. But it kept going. They kept grinding. They kept pushing forward, and Jourdain just stayed busy, stayed in his face, and did not back down. I know a lot of people are going to look at this. A lot of people had Danny Barlow in parlays, which I don't know why you did that. But a lot of people had Danny Barlow in parlays, and they're going to hate on him. This guy sucks. What a joke. This wasn't about Danny Barlow sucking, because there are plenty of fights where the favorite sucks, so we end up getting a busted parlay. That is not what we had here. What we had here was an underdog with real dog in him. We had Jourdain Santos, who refused to quit despite being dropped, wobbled, rocked a few times. This was a good fight. It was a fun fight. I did not know what to expect in the scorecard. I think this was accurate. I think Jourdain Santos did enough to win this fight. He should have won this fight. I'm surprised it wasn't a split decision, Good for him. It just shows you that just sheer volume and sheer activity and just sheer manhood is enough to get you wins at this level as long as you have the baseline skills. So Danny Barlow will be back. He clearly has an insane amount of power. He clearly can get wins at this level. And Jourdain Santos, yeah, he lost to Ozzy Diaz, but doesn't mean he sucks. He looked good here. Then we had Big Ange's best bet of the night. We had Bruno Silva taking on Hyun Park. I bet on Bruno Silva. Listen, I'm cheap. I'm a coward. I got a vasectomy 2 years ago. I think they took out too much. No nuts whatsoever. I only bet a quarter of a unit on Bruno Silva to win inside the distance, decision, no action. I should have bet more because that's exactly what we got. Bruno Silva came in here, made this look almost easy. Defended a couple of takedowns, got a bunch of his own takedowns, was bombing away, was an absolute dog, and ultimately found the finish. And when I broke down this fight, I picked Bruno Silva. And I said, you know what? This feels like a fight that I broke down a couple of weeks ago with Daniel Wileycat Santos. I said, you know what? Wileycat Santos doesn't have the best record in the world, but what he does have is wins at this level. And what his opponent has is dog shit. And that's exactly what I said when I broke down this fight. Hyun Park, I get it. He was 10-0 just 6 months ago. 10-0. A great prospect, finished a bunch of people, looked great. But when you look at who he finished and how he finished him, and you look at their records, this guy's not that good. Or at least he hasn't proven to us that he can win at this level. Because the only good fighter he fought was Tatsuro Taira. He lost that fight. And I looked at it. And don't mind my weird eye twitching and eye rubbing and pauses and awkwardness. I am not autistic. I don't have a weird twitch. I don't have Tourette's. What I have is dry ass eyes because it is midnight. And I've been drinking a little bit. Because I went to the Nate Bargatze show. That guy is absolutely hilarious. That show was spectacular, by the way. Anyway, Bruno Silva came in here and said, guess what? I've been fighting at this level for 5-6 years. I don't give a fuck what you think you're going to do. You're not going to do it. And that's exactly what we got here. I'm glad I picked him. I'm glad I bet on him. I wish when they vasected me, they would have left my testicles inside of my body so I would have bet more money and then I would have been up huge. Because this is a great pick by me and it's flying under the radar. I'm not getting enough credit for this pick. Why am I not? This dude was a 3-1 underdog. You know what I got? Nice pick on Bekoev, loser. You know what I didn't get? Hey, thanks for the underdog in Melissa Croden. Thanks for the underdog in Bruno Silva. I didn't get that shit. I got the hate. Let's get some love. Great fight for Bruno Silva. I expect Hyun Park to lose. He'll win his next fight. They'll give him an easy matchup because he's in a market the UFC wants. And then he'll lose a couple in a row. And he'll just disappear. He won't matter. He'll be buried on undercards. We won't care about him in the future. The reality is, he had an inflated record. He fought a couple of good people and lost. And I'm just very glad I didn't buy into that hype. And then we had a pretty quick knockout. We had a 21-second knockout. 21 seconds from Arichi Lang. Cody Gibson threw a lazy naked kick. And it got caught. And there was a right hand right down the middle. And bingo, bongo, that was it. Like, that was it. Literally, that was it. I have already spent more time talking about this than how long that fight lasted. Cody Gibson threw a lazy leg kick. It got caught. He ate a huge right, and he got put out in 21 seconds of the first round. Now, if they fought 10 times, would this happen 10 times? No. This would happen exactly one of those 10 times. This was I don't want to say a fluke because this was earned. He caught a kick and he threw a punch. Boom, done. Not really indicative of either one of their fight skills, but you're going to throw a lazy kick at this level. You're going to pay for it. It is what it is. Cody Gibson's 36, 38. How old is he? I'll tell you right now. Cody Gibson is 38 years old. He just got knocked out for throwing a lazy leg kick. I imagine he'll get another fight or two, and then he just rides off in the sunset. Arichi Lang isn't exactly a spring chicken in his own right, but he is active. He is fun. He will get after it. His record is 26-12, so he has no problem just stepping up whenever against whoever and doing his thing. I can't even say fun fight. 12 21 seconds is not enough time for me to be like, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Unless it's like a wild main event where the outcome mattered. The outcome didn't matter here. We knew it would just be a random fun fight, and that's exactly what we got. And then we got Drew Dober taking on Kyle Prepolec. Here's the reality of this situation. Drew Dober finds the finish. He gets the win, right? He a KO. He found the finish. He was busy. He was active. He landed. He got it done. This was another insanely late finish. This was the third round of this fight, and it was kind of competitive. Kyle Prepolec landed clean a few times. Kyle Prepolec had some success, and he's a pretty durable dude. Drew Dober at this point in his career is just a fun gatekeeper. And I know, first of all, I know I just said Cooper instead of keeper. And I know his shin was a disaster. He was bloody. Like, I fully understand there was a mess going on in his lower body. Drew Dober is an exciting fighter. He will forever be an exciting fighter. Drew Dober will retire when his chin just isn't there anymore. We saw flashes of his chin being his chin in this fight. He ate a couple of big shots and he just kept moving forward, kept doing his thing. Drew Dober has skills, and that's the unfortunate reality of him. He has skills. He's a good technical striker when he wants to be. We saw some grappling in this fight. But I don't want to say the problem, and I hesitated there, you heard it, because we're watching this for entertainment. And that was a thoroughly entertaining fight. If Drew Dober wanted to just get a win with the least path of resistance, he would have shot a million takedowns, because when they did grapple, he had success. But he went after it. He swung. He kicked. He made it happen. He put his body at risk. His shin was a disaster. Drew Dober won't be working his way up the rankings. Drew Dober won't ever fight for a title. But what we can do with him at this point in his career, he's a little older, is just use him for fights exactly like this. Put him on a card that needs a little bit of a chutzpah, a little zhuzh. I'm not Jewish, but I'm using Jewish terms. Put him on a card that needs a little pep, a little zest, because he will get after it. He will show up. He will swing. He will kick. He will just do whatever he needs to be exciting. And if he gets finished, he gets finished. If he finishes somebody, he finishes somebody. Like, Drew Dober is a fun guy. He's exactly the type of guy you need on your cards. Problem is, he's getting a little older. He is basically famous for how often he gets hit. And he was hit a lot in this fight. I argued all week that Kyle Prepolec isn't exactly a UFC level fighter. So for Drew to get dotted up the way he did against Kyle a couple of times is like, uh-oh. But good win, fun fight. Like, honestly, you got to cut Kyle at this point, but just keep Drew around for fights exactly like this. Like, don't try to convince us he's going to do anything important. And just not every fighter on this roster needs to be working towards a title. Some of them are just here for fun and entertainment, and that is Drew. Then we had Kyle Nelson taking on Matt Frevola, the main card opener. This fight went kind of as expected. The reason I said kind of is because I thought we would get a finish here. There were times where we almost had a finish. This was just a wild, sloppy back and forth. This was a fight between a sloppy Matt Frevola, who's just not great, but fights his ass off, and a sloppy Kyle Nelson, who's not great, but fights his ass off. That's what we got. We got two guys just getting after it. There was success on both sides. You could watch any random 30, 40, 50-second highlight of this fight and be like, oh, that person looked good. Oh, that person looked good. Oh, great. This was just a sloppy back and forth mess. I am surprised this decision was unanimous. Felt like a split to me just because it was sloppy. They both had success. Kyle Nelson was just a little busier, a little more energy. Obviously ended up on top a couple more times when the wrestling was initiated by Matt Frevola. This is just a fun fight. And this is another fight where, similar to the Drew Dober breakdown, where neither one of these guys are going to be working towards a title. Neither one of them are ever going to be ranked. But having them here, having them get after it, having them just fight on a card, on TV, is fun for the viewers. It's exciting to see two dudes who will just do whatever they need to do to get a win. They both can't win. Only one of them won here, but this was a fun fight. They got after it. No love lost on either side. You can't hate on either one of them. This was a fun fight. Good for them. I mean, what you do from here is just fight some other random dude on an undercard somewhere else. Then we had just old man shit. Charles Jourdain, and this is bad on me, right? I thought Davey Grant was going to win this fight. I looked at it objectively, and my exact breakdown was Charles Jourdain isn't exactly who he used to be. He doesn't take as many chances. And I think if Davey Grant just moves forward and stays busy, he can squeak out a win. That's not what happened. Charles Jourdain just went flying through the air, a little bit about halfway through the first round, landed a clean knee, and then after he landed a knee, he went to town and found the finish. You're going to see it was a submission by guillotine. It was the knee. The knee is what did it. He landed this big flying knee. It dropped Davey on the ground. Davey was actually doing okay, and then Charles slipped in that power guillotine where he locks the hands, pushes it through, and he got it done. Good for Charles Jourdain. I mean, he was the favorite. He should have won this fight. I thought Davey Grant's just forward pressure was going to get it done. And early, and I fully recognize he was submitted in the first round, but early, the forward pressure actually looked pretty good. He got in Charles's face. He landed some strikes. He moved forward. He wasn't afraid to engage. That huge knee obviously changed the tide here. So good on both of them. Davey Grant at 39 years old, not afraid to get after it, move forward. I am worried now, though, if you're a Davey Grant aficionado, a Davey Grant fan, if you're somebody rooting for Davey Grant, this dude is going to be terrified of getting knocked out again, and we're going to see every fight from now on him playing it safe. He is going to wrestle like a mother effer going forward. I will bet my life on it. Charles Jourdain, good for him. He got the win. His brother is a spectacular fighter. According to tape, his brother's the better fighter than him. So Charles Jourdain and his brother, let's see if we get them on a card together. Let's see if there's some fun there and they get after it back to back, something like that. But Charles Jourdain got the win. He was supposed to get the win here, and it was just nice to see him get back to his roots of taking chances, flying through the air, doing stuff that separates him from just the rest of the pack. Then we had a shocking finish here. I picked Manon Fiorot. I bet on Manon Fiorot. I thought Manon Fiorot would win. I did not think she would win at 1 minute and 14 seconds of the first round. I did not think that was the reality of the situation. I knew Manon Fiorot hit hard. I knew she would defend the takedowns. I picked her to win. I bet on her to win. I also bet on the over 2.5 here. I thought Manon Fiorot would win a decision by defending some takedowns, staying tough, staying on her feet, doing all of that. For her to finish a very tough, a very durable, a very gritty, grindy Jasmine Jasudavicius was impressive. And not only did she finish her, she didn't catch her in something. She didn't do some trick bullshit. She threw right down the middle and got it done. Just, oh, you want to come in with your lazy bullshit and then shoot a shot? Bang. And got it. I mean, Manon Fiorot, it was only 1 minute and 14 seconds, but she looked spectacular. The only takeaway here, there's no, we didn't see enough fight to have any meaningful takeaway on the Jasmine side. The real takeaway here is how good Manon looked with how quickly she read that exchange, threw the strike, got it done. She wasn't afraid. Because there are times where we see these fighters at this level afraid to get taken down. They freeze up. They don't let their hands go. That is not what we had here. She let her hands go. As soon as she saw the opening and sort of the lazy exchange by Jasmine, she just let it go. Manon Fiorot will be fighting for a title immediately. She'll just be right back in that mix. And good for her. She looked great. Jasmine will be fine. She'll get back after it. She's a better wrestler than 90% of this division. So, all right, she won 5 in a row. She lost this one. She'll win another 2, 3, 4, 5 before losing again. Jasmine's a good fighter. She will be back. I'm not worried about that. Manon Fiorot, if I were her, I would sit tight. Let's see what happens at UFC 322 with that title. Let's see what happens at UFC 321 with that title, and just go from there. Then we had one of the more controversial fights of the night. We had Chito Vera taking on Aiemann Zahabi. I picked Aiemann Zahabi here. I can't stand the dude. I feel like he's just sort of a pitter-patter, distant striker. What I will say, though, is He got after it. He won the first round just with sheer volume and pressure. He was not afraid to engage. I was a little bit exposed on this card bet-wise. I doubled down on the over 2.5 here because I was 100% sure Cheeto is tough as hell. Amin Zahabi is tough as hell. It got dicey, though. It got dicey. Amin Zahabi won that first round. He moved forward. He got in Cheeto's face. But Cheeto is Cheeto. Not only is he durable, he's dangerous. He had Amin in a world of hurt. But what did he do? Let off the gas. Instead of just pushing through, throwing everything and trying to finish Amin, he let off the gas. Thought he was going to cruise to a victory. Came down to the third round. Didn't get it. That's the problem with Chito Vera. He doesn't have that sense of urgency that a fighter should have. He doesn't have that, I need to win no matter what. I need to throw no matter what. He doesn't have that. What he has is an insane chin. He's got some durability, some danger on the offense. He's got all the skills, but he doesn't have that like click in his head that says, I need to put this dude out, because he could have and he didn't. And that's what cost him this fight. I saw a bunch of people tweeting Chito Vera plus 3.5 is free money. It was free money. It was free money this entire week. Problem is, that's not a bet that existed for most people. A lot of people bragging that they got Chito plus 3.5. I would ask them to show a ticket, because most, and I'm not saying all, and I'm not saying everybody, most sports books did not offer that bet for this exact reason. The odds were too close. This was too close of a fight to offer that bet. I would ask, if you have watched any video other than mine where somebody's like, oh, we cashed on Chito plus 3.5. Yeah, no shit. That was the most obvious bet on planet Earth. But your sportsbook probably didn't offer it. So if you're talking about it and you're pretending you bet it, you better show the ticket, you lying weasel. Chito Vera, I don't know what he does from here, because he's still good. We saw in this fight, he is still a good fighter. He just needs 5 rounds. If this was a 5-round fight, I think it actually would have gone his way. And obviously he lost the third, so kind of problematic. But I do think Chito would have just continued to pick up the pace, continued to pick up the motion. I wish he had more of a sense of urgency. That really is the difference here. I can't stand Amin. I just don't like the fight style. I will say, though, in this fight, he was more aggressive than he usually is. So good for Amin Zahabi. I mean, quality win. This is a 50-50. Anybody saying it was a robbery is just throwing that term out there for no reason. There's an intelligent argument to make for either one of these guys winning this fight. They got after it. In my opinion, Chito was closer to a definitive win, but he just didn't do it. He just didn't throw those couple extra strikes, didn't push that pace, just didn't do it. And you really only have yourself to blame at that point. Then we had the co-main event of the evening. This was kind of a weird fight, right? Mike Malott won this fight. He won a decision. There was a wild nut shot, a bad knee to the nuts. And we were in a situation where it was, is Kevin faking it? Like, we saw the knee hit the nuts. Like, we saw that. He's not faking that. But, like, he took more than 5 minutes. And technically that fight should have been called, but it wasn't. He took more than 5 minutes. And then was still shaking it out after the next round. And then still, so it's like, was he just using that as a, I don't want to say an excuse, but just using that as a crutch for like, yeah, I'm not really performing. I don't think so. I mean, Kevin Holland has proven to all of us over and over again that while he is wildly inconsistent and not somebody you could ever trust with anything ever, he's not a pussy and he's not a quitter and he's not soft. He's been finished, but not because he's quitting. We watched him fight Wonderboy with a broken hand, just continued to move forward and try to fight. So I don't think he was exaggerating the nut shot. I do think, however, just the general athleticism of Mike Malott, the general grittiness and toughness was the issue here. When he started grappling, he obviously had the success there. He was on his back. He reversed it. Like, Mike Malott gutted this win out. And I know it's a unanimous decision, but it just seemed closer when you were watching live. Mike Malott is tough as hell. His brother's in the NHL. Mike Malott gets after it, and good for him. Kevin Holland is clearly a very talented fighter. Also clearly a very unreliable fighter. You don't know what you're going to get. But he is tough. And he does have skills. And he will get after it. He's not afraid to engage. So I don't know where we go from here. I think Mike Malott, obviously, you need to continue to push him. He's 35, 36 at this point. He's not young. He's good looking. He is marketable. I think Mike Malott is somebody the UFC is going to invest in. They did invest in him for a while. He lost to Neil Magny. They pulled back a little bit. I think they're going to continue to push him, and they should. I mean, this is a good win. Beating Kevin Holland is a good win, regardless of what version of Kevin Holland shows up. And as far as Kevin Holland's concerned, I would almost, if you gave me odds, and I'm curious, let me know in the comments what you think the odds are that Kevin Holland fights before the year is up. I think we have 8 cards left. 8. Before the year is over, and then we have to wait for Christmas and New Year's, and then boom, we start up again in the new year, 2026 on Paramount. I am curious what you think the odds are that Kevin Holland fights again in 2025. I would say, you think that's dog money? I would cap that at -110, that he fights again. So even money, which is crazy because there's only 8 cards left and most of them are established. But he didn't take a ton of damage other than his testicles not working anymore. I would not be shocked if he's not going to pop up on the December 11th card or whatever that is, the Apex card. I would not be shocked if he popped up on the December 4th card. That would not surprise me. Kevin Holland's not a quitter. He will fight. He'll get after it. This just wasn't his moment. And then we had the main event of the evening. First of all, a couple things. One, when the fuck did Brendan Allen become Canadian? If you're a Canadian, if you live in Canada and you're a Canadian and you were watching this fight, supporting your country, rooting for the Canadians, and you saw this fucking Louisiana country boy show up with the Canadian flag and the Canadian, what the hell are we doing? I would be insulted to high hell. What is Brendan Allen doing? You cannot play both sides. You cannot show up and be like, I'm a Louisiana boy. I went to a bad school in Louisiana. That's why I wear dreadlocks. And then also be like, hey, I'm going to put cheese and gravy on my French fries and call it poutine. You cannot do both. You cannot go from a crawfish boil to a poutine feast. It's not a boil. You can't do both those things. Brendan Allen being Canadian is one of the most shocking things that's happened. The second most shocking thing that's happened on this card is that RDR quit. And I know on our breakdown, myself and Jacob said RDR quits. We've seen him quit before. But I have seen him not quit. And that's what made this surprising. Because I saw RDR in the octagon with Robert Whittaker, and I watched him go to hell and back for 25 minutes. I watched him get knocked down and stand up. I watched him throw that. I watched him have a ton of success. And I watched him dog out bad situations. In this fight specifically, I watched him have success. He was tremendous. He was winning early because of his physical size. He was winning early. He was having success. What was it? The first round? He spent the whole first round basically in full mount. RDR was winning. He was having success and then just got tired and slowed down. And I don't want to say he quit, but this dude literally quit. He quit on the stool. This guy quit. Dude, just suck it up. Suck it up for a few more minutes. Don't quit. Let the ref quit for you. At the very least, let the ref quit for you. I mean, this was bad. This might have been the worst PR ever in a fight. Like, literally. So not only were you on the cusp, if he beat the shit out of a short notice Brendan Allen, he would have gotten a title shot. But he didn't, did he? He quit on the stool. So now Brendan Allen wins. This just guarantees a title shot on the other side. Literally. Nasruddin Imavov will be fighting for a belt. But what do you do with RDR? He just quit to Brendan Allen. What's Brendan Allen? 11 in the world? RDR was, after that first round, looked spectacular. RDR was 1 or 2 rounds away from being the number 1 they don't rank the champ, the #1 middleweight on the planet. Instead, things got a little tough. He quit on the stool. Shocking behavior. Good for Brendan Allen. Good for him. And maybe these two, obviously they do train at the same gym, so maybe there was some weird fight history. Maybe it was the mental warfare was a problem because of their fight history. I don't know. But like, what the hell was it? Quitting on the stool at this level? You are fighting for a #1 contender spot and you quit on the stool? That is some crazy shit. RDR, I sat here on my We Want Picks show, on the recap videos, on the Bad Takes show with John Thompson. I have sat here for months and said, I think RDR might be the only person who could beat Khamzat. I don't think any of the middleweights can beat him. If anybody can, maybe it's RDR. And here we are. He quit against Brendan Allen. Nobody's beating Khamzat. That dude will be the champion for 175 years. Guys, that's the breakdown. If you want to unlock every pick, every bet, every tool, Jacob crushed this card. Bet Sam hit his slam of the week. Last week, everything happened. Things have been going wildly well. Ride the train downhill. We are cruising downhill at a remarkable rate. Things are going well. Hop aboard not only for UFC 321 next week with Tom Aspinall, but the 2 fight nights and then UFC 322 after that. It is only $10 for an entire month. You unlock every pick, every bet, every tool. And the only reason I'm twitchy and dry-eyed is because it is now 12:10. I appreciate every last one of you being here. I hope you enjoyed those fights as much as I did. Let me know what you guys think. Was RDR quitting shocking to you? I did not listen. Listen, guys, we do about 4, 5, 600,000 views in a month. It all depends on the quality of the UFC cards, right? If we got a bunch of really good cards, our views are through the roof. We got some dog shit, the views are not very good. But we do about 3, no, not 3. We're well over 3. 4, 5, or 600,000 views a month. I see the comments. I don't see all of them for 2 reasons. 1, I don't have enough time in the day. And 2, the app doesn't push every comment to me, but I see a majority of them. So I get a pretty good feel of the general tone of individual fights. I didn't see a single person prick Brendan Allen. Not one. The only person I heard use their words to vocalize concern was Jacob. I didn't see a single comment saying Brendan Allen wins this fight. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the algorithm. Let me know what you guys think. Is Brendan Allen that good? Is RDR just not that good? Who should get the next title shot? Guys, thank you so much for being here. Send me some contact solution. If you want to send something for the vlog, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078.